I think it is only right to start this talk off with an apology. An apology to the audience members, an apology to anyone who may watch this talk, to future generations, and to the planet. I was first introduced to the human caused realities of environmental degradation, changes to our climate, in the ways that our built, our designed, and our engineered world has adversely impacted our natural systems the same way I presume many of you were introduced to these topics, through the Harvard Business Review. I was preparing a research proposal the second semester of my first year of college when I read in a compilation of Harvard Business Review articles on supply chain management of the cotton harvesting process for organic versus inorganic cotton used for t-shirt production. It was the first time that I was learning about the environment in a context that I felt connected with, that is business, and the first time that I began to recognize that the #1 driving force of economic development was the same source of environmental damage. I didn't fully realize it at the time, but it was learning about the environment, something I admittedly did not care outright for and did not know all that much about, through a business process that has completely altered my perspective and frame of reference. In addition to studying supply chain management and business information systems, I'm also concentrating on sustainability through industrial and environmental engineering applications. I've conducted independent research on the intersection of business and engineering to inform companies on how they can optimize their supply chains to be more environmentally efficient and sustainable. And just recently, traveled across the ocean to study abroad and climb a 60-meter offshore wind turbine in Copenhagen, Denmark. It was here, the proclaimed sustainability capital of the world, that I realized that investing in, developing, and implementing cutting-edge technologies to better serve the environment, and by extension, the residents of Copenhagen, was done simply because it was logical and the right thing to do. Now, I don't have a green thumb. I don't self-identify as a tree hugger, and although most of my money is spent at REI, I couldn't be even considered an avid outdoors woman. I am, however, an aspiring changemaker, an unconventional path traveler, a risk taker, an ordinary person, looking to improve our world through systems-based designs and improved choice architecture. The value of these and additional not mentioned experiences have completely shifted my personal values and professional trajectory. These experiences to date have culminated in the recent launch of a B Corp in its infancy, my community-based project and organization called Co-op, Connecting Ordinary People, pun fully intended. The goal of the organization is to communicate through science-based communication and to promote inclusivity through communication, to talk to Pittsburgh's energy stakeholders about climatic issues. This is done through advanced science-based communication in collaboration with scientists, engineers, and other related experts explaining these issues to non-experts. The goal of our programming is to hold what you all have to say, think, and question central to our mission and central to our success. We do this by partnering with local organizations to provide a forum-based series that discusses climate change through an interdisciplinary lens, which includes large and small businesses, government representatives of any level, local community members, and scientists and engineers. In today's technologically dominant world, more information than ever before is available and accessible. The goal of Co-op is to promote networking, science-based communication, interactive learning platforms, and evaluation to take the critical steps that are necessary to achieving our 3 major goals, which are an informed community, an engaged community, and enabling underrepresented voices. You see, the issue with climate change, scientific facts, sustainability, and plain and simple human behavior is that something as routine as our everyday actions and choices have become distant. Every day, we make energy decisions, large and small, that have real economic, environmental, and social impact. Co-op works with local organizations to make all of the information that's readily available to us comprehensible and relevant to the community. Because science and engineering are at the heart of most energy-related decisions, it is critical that non-expert stakeholders understand the unique challenges and opportunities. Unique to the city of Pittsburgh is the innate connection one has with other community members. Pittsburgh has an incredible opportunity to address these issues, and Co-op is the organization that seeks to provide the space and the programming for this to actualize. The way that we all discuss the technicalities of various disciplines, be it science and engineering, business, or policy, has in effect created a silo effect that prevents a conversation among these groups to result in much of anything, never minding the urgency and the complexity of these issues. We are speaking in our own professional languages and using our own technical jargon instead of speaking the language of the future. The choices that you and I are confronted with every single day make it apparent that these choices are not only environmentally and socially damaging, not only occurring in globally far-off places, but happening here, locally, in Pittsburgh, every single day. Many of our systems, our ideas, and our approaches of what we have grown to accept as normal with regards to energy sourcing, distribution, and use provide some of the greatest challenges, but also serve as the foundation for some of the greatest opportunities of our future. Let's move the conversation outside the conference room, beyond the lab, and beyond political engagement, recognizing that businessmen and women, scientists and engineers, and policymakers are people too. Let's also realize and shift our focus to what you and I can do, whether or not we are members of these stakeholder groups, acknowledging that we are all part of the Pittsburgh community. What sustainability means in specific contexts, business, science or engineering, policy, and therefore within local communities, is critical to further understand and explore. The bottom line for all community members is that sustainability is about environmental issues, climatic uncertainty, and energy security. And more importantly than that, sustainability is about inclusivity. It is about recognizing that fundamentally, regardless of the stakeholder group that we represent, is that issues regarding energy security warrant our concerns and should therefore require our input when we are creating solutions. Co-op is working to provide the programming that enhances communication, participation, and transparency in so many ways that allows all of us to be stakeholders in these conversations. Because sustainability is so much about inclusivity, there's a critical stakeholder that's absent from most of our conversations, and that is you and I. Put differently, the bottom line for all community members, regardless of the stakeholder group that we represent, is that environmental issues, climatic uncertainty, and changes in our climate have a lot to do with the way that we go about our everyday lives. It's important for us to understand these critical issues and the ways that we can engage and address these issues. We can and must look for points of unity and commonality across very different issues and experiences. While not everything can be blended into a lowest common denominator platitude, we can and must support the integrity of individual moments and the specificities of the community experience. An interdisciplinary approach that centralizes all key stakeholders' interests is increasingly necessary to understanding that not one stakeholder group will be able to sustain their self-interests if there is no planet off of which to work. It is time that we start viewing the planet and you and I as such stakeholders. Thank you.